Kody is now questioning me left and right about things that I thought he knew about me, like he's struggling to trust everybody around him. Yes, you're going through divorce with Christine, but you have marriages that you have to maintain, figure them out, and get over his anger enough to actually interact appropriately, or he's going to ruin every single one of them.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, April 6th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I did a video yesterday where I was talking to you about how Kody and Robyn might be fighting about their property and how Kody wants to maybe move to Vegas and Robyn doesn't want to move. And I said, like, I don't even know if this is true, but I want it to be true, so I'm going to report it. And a lot of you appreciated my honesty there. I don't know if it's true, but I believe that Robyn Brown was pretty clear throughout the season that her marriage with Kody was struggling because of his anger, because of his inability to communicate, and because of the way that he was treating people, and that his anger was destroying relationships. So we also were talking a little bit about this property that they have out at Coyote Pass. And I got an email this morning from a neighbor of Kody's at Coyote Pass, who actually let me know that there is nothing, absolutely nothing that's been happening at the property because of the winter, and that at this point there's no construction plans. And I guess the son was out on the property taking photographs, and the neighbor had no clue about that. So they were like, why were people on my property? Do you know what's going on here? So apparently Coyote Pass is private property, and so they weren't super happy about that. But long story short, the Coyote Pass situation is dead, as far as the neighbor was telling me. With everything that's been going on with Robyn and Kody, I was going back through some of the older videos, and then I saw this new article by The Sun, and now it's talking about how Robyn and Kody divorce is not off the table at this point, and she's considering divorce at this point, I guess. Well, it's not, they haven't talked about it, but she's kind of threatening it, which then got me thinking to the number of times that she has threatened to divorce Kody on the show, and even their own admissions last year that Robyn will kick him out when she doesn't get what she wants or she doesn't want to deal with him. And now she doesn't have that option because he has no other wives. So I was thinking about all of these things, and then I was watching all the older episodes. So we'll have to just dive into this, and then I'll tell you a little bit of tea that I got from a source several months ago that I'm not sure that I shared with you, and it might make sense for some of y'all. And if you guys remember, all my friends here, I was the one that got a hold of the divorce records with Robyn's first marriage with her ex-husband, Preston. And those records, it was very clear in the very early days of her marriage with Kody that he was lavishing her and the kids with gifts anytime Preston did something to disappoint her or the kids, that they really were spoiled with gifts and sort of like love bombed with presents. And now as money is going to be drying up because there's not as many wives, her easy life is out. And there's this whole long declaration that she had submitted to the court for the termination of parental rights for her ex-husband. And it's all about, it's very manipulative, the strategies that she used in order to get him to release, you know, custodial rights of the kids, and the lengths that she went to do this. And she like had text messages that were part of these filings that basically like showed that she wasn't allowing him to talk to the kids on the phone. She kept telling them that they were filming. And it made me think about, like, if they were to go through a divorce, I could totally see her doing something very similar to Kody and finding a way to get whatever it is that she needs from this relationship and get the kids, and like make sure that he has no access to the kids, much like what happened with Preston. So if Kody doesn't get his life straight, he's going to have no kids left because, according to Gwendolyn, almost all of the kids at this point are estranged from him. Dad of the year, everybody. Dad of the year. And season 18 is filming, and it's coming in September. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed. Turn your notification bells on so you know when I go live and when new content loads, and make sure to leave a comment if you have something to say, and share the video with your friends if they also like fundamentalist content on cults and all the things. All right, so the new article is that Kody and Robyn are basically headed for a split. Well, it says headed for a split ? Sister Wives star Robyn Brown's divorce beliefs revealed as her marriage to Kody crumbles under the family's drama. So before we get into this article, let me tell you, circle back to this email I got months before, during like the end of season 17. And someone reached out to me, and it's all of the stuff that they were telling me has been now like basically confirmed by Gwendolyn and other family members. So it makes sense. But one of the biggest contentions in the family for the wives that weren't Robyn leading up to their splits and leaving was the spending of Kody and Robyn. And apparently there was a few of them allegedly looking at bank statements and bank accounts, and they were realizing that Robyn was spending family money without knowledge of other people. So they apparently had this like large family account, which they actually talked about on the show. And that account was not supposed to be just for Kody and Robyn. It was supposed to be for the whole family. It was supposed to be equitable division. But they said that the wives learned that Robyn was basically using this as her own piggy bank, allegedly. Robyn has this habit of shopping, and some say that she has a shopping habit or that she's a hoarder. So when this all came about, apparently they confronted Kody, allegedly, about this issue with the money. And apparently they were like upset that this money was gone. And again, Janelle alluded to this in the season. And I guess Robyn allegedly threatened Kody that she would divorce him, that she would take all of his money, and that she would take the kids, and he would never see them again. And he could just go stay with Christine and Janelle and Mary or whoever if that's what he wanted. But she was not in the mood to like negotiate. Basically, it was like, I don't care. If you don't let me do this, I'll divorce you and take all your money. And at the time, the source said that it freaked Kody out because he realized that, you know, obviously her name is on all this stuff and she has way more leverage than all the other wives. And so he has to sort of placate her to keep her from going nuclear and taking all his money, is how they put it. But the money issues were a huge factor leading up to all of them leaving, apparently, allegedly. So the threats for her to leave Kody have been sort of this ongoing thing. Like the way the source said is that every time they would get into a fight, Robyn would threaten to divorce him and be like, I'm going to take the money, I'm going to take the kids, and you're screwed. And then they said that that would leave Kody in this sort of spiral of at her whim and at her beck and call of having to give her what she wanted so that she wouldn't do that because he is like so paranoid about going back into poverty. So now this new post coming from the Sun doesn't surprise me given the information that I was provided about how she frequently will threaten divorce on him, allegedly. So apparently she has made her beliefs on divorce known to her husband. So she has let Kody know that she will not stick around if this continues. And he has been very well established about what these baselines are. When she divorced David, in the entire divorce filings, or David Preston, there's nothing in the divorce filings that there was any sort of abuse or domestic violence at all. No mention of any of it. No mention of verbal altercations. No mentions of fears that the kids would not be safe around him. Nothing. So for her story to sort of change on the show is an interesting one. And apparently people from the faith were telling me that a lot of times women in the church will claim abuse to get out of relationships that they don't want to be in, even if it's not an abusive one. And that's another way that they can also separate the kids from the father. So take that for what it's worth. This is what the source said. Robyn's not going to run away from a marriage, but she doesn't put up with a lot of SHIT, and she's already put up with a lot of it. So if her marriage is going to turn into the one that she had before, she would never stick around to be verbally put down every day. That's just not who she is. She doesn't need it. So obviously we talked last week about how he's apparently blaming her for everything and saying, you should have done better. You should have worked harder to keep the family together, blah, blah, blah. The source also said they haven't talked officially about a divorce, but it's not off the table. So in the middle of all of this, they're apparently spending a lot more time apart. He's been traveling a lot. He's been going to Vegas a lot. He wants to move back to Vegas. She's been staying and hunkering down in Flagstaff, hanging out on her Pinterest board. And her Pinterest board is filled with like all kinds of stuff about just going through something really difficult right now. So they want to move. He wants to move. Robyn wants to stay. But it's more so like the fact that he's blaming her for everything and being a jerk. I think that in the world of plural marriage, the threat of divorce is utilized a lot by wives that are not happy in order to maybe get what it is that they need and what they want, because it's one of the only things that they can control. Now that her dreams are shot, like she wanted to be a polygamist. That's one of the reasons why she and Preston split up. So I spoke to one of his family members, and they basically said that like Preston never wanted to be a polygamist, had no desire to be it. He is not a polygamist today. He is not even part of the faith anymore. And she left when she was confronted about a lot of debt that she spent. And then his family bailed her out, and then she basically left. And she spent that money, and then he had to pay his family back. Anyways, allegedly, she wanted to be a polygamist, and she thought that if she stayed with him long enough, she would somehow convince him to become a polygamist, and that just was not going to happen. So her eyes were on the prize of thinking that she had a higher calling to become a plural wife so that she could get into heaven and go to the celestial kingdom where she would become a god or goddess. And then throughout the marriage with Kody, she took steps to not have the life that her mother had. So her mom was a second wife, and so her dad could never like recognize her in public and claim her as his. And so she didn't want to have that life. And so she used the kids right off the bat as a tool to get Kody to think that if things don't work out, they can go off with someone else. They can go back to their dad at any time. And she used that as a weapon almost to like make them think that they had to adopt the kids. Otherwise, Preston was going to take the kids away, or they would be so unhappy they would leave. And so it was always this like fear of like her planting seeds of fear in them that they had to do something. And it seems like when she hasn't had a lot of opportunities or she's not getting what she wants, she plants fear and threats on Kody. And, you know, it was weird because when I talked to the source, they said that Kody is a complete narcissist, and they said that they think that she's also a complete narcissist. But they said that Robyn's worse than Kody, which I thought was wild. Like, I'm trying to imagine how she would be worse than him. But they said she's, like, more coercive and more manipulative, and, like, she really does, like, get him to do whatever it is that she wants, and she's sort of like this puppet master, and that he bends to this because he's like so paranoid about losing everything. Her threats would have to actually be going through because now there's no more competition. Like, she likes to compete, she likes to win, she likes to be the one that was chosen, as evidenced by what happened with her and her sister. Her ex-husband liked her sister, Fawn, and she made it known that she liked Preston, and she won Preston, and then Fawn lost Preston. They never dated, but she likes to compete. And so she's competed her way to the top, and now there's nothing to compete anymore. And what now? She's not in a plural family anymore. They're going to lose 3/4 of their income at this point. 75% of their income is gone. And the show is hanging in the balance. So she's going to have to make do on these threats. So Kody is, I don't know, going to have to figure out what he wants to do. He and Robyn are basically monogamous, according to him. But that monogamy is not what either one of them seem to want. So I'm sure there's a lot of turmoil going on in this relationship. And they have not, when Kody's been out, he's not been wearing his ring that he wears, the wedding rings. And she and him have both been looking unhappy. So take this for what it's worth. But Kody and Robyn could be headed for a divorce. And if they are headed for a divorce, do you think it'll play out like her first marriage, where she will accuse Kody of being abusive and get the kids and then all of his money? Part of me wonders if those weird threats that he was giving to Christine were things that he was worried about Robyn would do to him, because that's what Robyn did to her ex-husband. Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.